Okay, guys, we are back with PtitDrogo, and we are talking Starcraft and the life of a programmer. Um, Also, what I found really interesting, we were talking about balance already and Starcraft, and you gave us some insight from your perspective. So, at this point in time, what I'm curious about also is now you said commentating is nice, maybe sometimes, or maybe doing the big jobs, but your heart is into programming and the competitiveness of the game. So how do you approach your training? How do you train? Do you train with practice partners? Do you just ladder, or how are you doing at this point in time?
Well, that's the thing. Like as I said, I'm not very disciplined, so it's kind of how I feel like it. Like if I have a tournament coming up, I'm usually gonna practice a lot. I went to Korea 2 times already, and when I'm there, I'm usually practicing a lot, like really not doing anything else. Right now, for example, I wouldn't say that I'm practicing that much. I just failed the WCS qualification, so I'm gonna take it easy for a few days, and then I'm just gonna go back to doing what I want. Usually, it's a bunch of ladder and then a bunch of custom game with a laser. Like I could say a bunch of custom games, but really it's a bunch of custom game with a laser. That's how I can sum it up.
So he's basically your practice partner.
He's the practice partner of anybody that wants to. Like a laser is the guy that plays the most custom game by far in the entirety of Europe, easily.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you are a small group actually only if you look at it, and you get to know each other over the years. So you practice according to the tournaments that are coming up. Yeah, unfortunately WCS didn't work out for you.
I'm still gonna go there.
Yeah, to Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about Montreal. Yeah,
Yes.
Actually, I wanted to ask you about that. So you are going, but you didn't go through the first qualifier. Is there an open bracket? Now I'm a bit confused now.
No, yeah, like it's 3 max. So when you qualify, you pretty much only qualify for getting your travel paid. That's pretty much the only thing that happens. You get seeded into the first stage of the tournament, but any pro gamer usually goes to the third stage of the tournaments like easily without needing a qualification beforehand.
Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, you need the points, no? So, and the money. Okay, so you are going. So you are still going, and you are preparing for that also. Okay, cool. So when will you leave to Montreal?
On the 7th of September. I mean, like everybody else.
Oh yeah, sure. And then you will. It's over the weekend, yeah. So that brings me also to my next question. So you talked a bit about your training. Also, just a short follow-up. Kelazur told me that he doesn't like to watch replays. How do you approach that?
That's the same from me, but I feel like it's something I should do more.
Yeah. So
but usually programmers don't watch that much replay because we have a very definite idea of why we lost a game. But I feel like personally I should watch more replays because really often, sometimes you just straight up don't see stuff. But usually you do see them. But yeah. I watch a lot less replay than I used to, and that's a mistake.
Understandable, but also because when you are frustrated about the losses, then you don't necessarily want to watch them again. Yeah. So there's a certain setup for you, and you are also part of Team myInsanity. And I want to talk a bit about that. So you are with them already for 2 years, I think, right?
It should be about 2 years.
Yeah,
I'm not sure myself.
Yeah, nearing now 2 years. How do you feel about your team at this point in time? They support you with the travels, and they give you a. Yeah.
I mean, it's a great team. Honestly, like then again, like I lived in the myInsanity house before I was in the team, so I lived for a year, so I actually know the guys. Like I have my friends and everything, and I feel like I'm fair to them, and I feel like they're fair to me, and we're having a great relationship, I think, and they're a great team. They try their hardest for esports in general. Like they're really, especially in the Swiss scene. I'm not Swiss myself, so I don't get all of that love in that Swiss esports scene. But they they still support me very nicely, and I really appreciate it. Like without, like this is the thing, like without myInsanity house, I'm not sure if I would have been able to be a pro gamer. Like it would have been a lot more difficult. So like no matter what happens, I'm always gonna be very grateful to them, what they've done to me.
What is a good team for you? What makes a good team for from the perspective of a player?
Well, in general, it's just about you want to be the least involved as possible in the travel for tournaments, and yeah, like you want to worry about that as less as possible. In that sense, myInsanity, like they all have jobs outside of the team. Like it's something they do on top of their actual job. So like to not overtrain them much. I'm just like, hey, I want to take this flight on this hotel. Can I go here? It's like, yeah, sure. We're gonna give you that. So I try to help a bit, but like it's very, very small stuff. Like usually, the most honest answer would be, "What are you looking for in a team?" The most honest answer would be money. That's actually the only true answer. But,
yeah, sure.
There's also a bunch of stuff, but usually most people are in them for the money.
I mean,
and sometimes for the love.
Yeah.
For me, it's a little bit for the love.
From the love from the fans and
Felt fans.
Yeah, that's good. No, I mean seriously, I keep saying that to the people that I'm interviewing, that that's very interesting for me also. Like for example, Jake told me a bit more in detail how much money the house costs, and and I was talking to somebody else also about this fact that you can't underestimate the factor of money, and I mean, and the love of the fans and the crowd and the winning obviously keeps you going. So it has to be a combination of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of the thing too that I forgot to mention. But when I was in myInsanity house, I had a bit of money saved up, and as soon as I joined the team, they let me in without having to pay rent. Because usually, if you come in and you're part of the team, you have to pay rent to be in the gaming house. So what happened effectively was that in the beginning of my career, when I was trying to improve, I never had to worry about money. I never had to feel like I need to win this tournament, otherwise I'm going to get kicked out. And I feel like as soon as you start to worry about money, it just you can't really make it. It's not possible. Like you shouldn't have to worry about this at all if you want to make it.
And
so yeah, that was really nice.
And a good team would would have your back financially, and don't sit that pressure on you. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like in general, if you have a salary that's enough to support your rent, that's the case for me right now. But it's pretty rare in Starcraft. Like Starcraft in general, if you have a team that just pays you to go to tournament, that's all you want. Like it's already really good for you. Like in general as a player, like it depends, like for the pro gamer trait to make it in, having a team that pays you to go to tournaments is like what you want. Salary is just like incredible bonus, like in Starcraft, most of your money is gonna come from tournament winning, not really from a player salary.
So yeah, that is very interesting for me that you are mentioning that now. So how would you say, how long can you go on like that with that lifestyle?
For me personally, as long as I'm competitive, I can go on with this. Like I could easily say for 4 or 5 years I could go on with this like this, but like it's very hard for me to predict the future, so I try to not make any prediction like this. Like I'm gonna be in Starcraft for 4 or 5 more years. Like are you sure about that? I don't know. I'm just taking it, like I just do what I feel like it.
Yeah. So there's that side of the whole setup. So you have a good backup, you have a good team at this moment. How do you feel about the WCS system at this point in time, or in general about the competitive scene? Or
right now, I feel like 4 tournaments is not enough. Like it's actually so much pressure for tournaments. Like if you fuck up at like 1 or 2 events, your year is completely ruined. There's also the fact that the first tournament of the year is so huge, because then afterwards, all of the seedings for every tournament are gonna be based on WCS points. So if you fail the first tournament, all of 3 other tournaments are gonna be insanely hard. Also, if you get unlucky with the first one, like TLO did with Nim, then it snowballs, and it's very hard. And I feel like 4 tournaments is not enough. Like I really like 2016 because there were just more tournaments. Now, obviously, you can always say this. I want to have more tournaments and more money in the scene. Like anybody can say that, of course. Like I'm understanding like 4 tournaments is apparently the best we could have, but it's also a lot of pressure. And one of the things that broke my heart the most is Showtime. Like Showtime is so good. He practices so much. He's actually so consistent on everything. And the last 2 WCS tournaments, he didn't do well in them at all. And it kind of broke my heart because I'm like, if I'm ever as good as Showtime, and I fail at these 2 tournaments, which is like this, I don't know if I can keep going. I don't know if I can actually like take it in. So yeah, it can be very stressful. I feel like people underestimate like how stressful it can be for tournaments. But the thing as a foreigner, every time you complain that we practice a lot and not always get the return on it, they're always like, oh yeah, well, what about the Koreans though? What about the Koreans? They're so much better than you. I could be Korean, could win WCS, and you're complaining here. Yeah, I went full autism right here, but
it's fine.
That's pretty much what you get every time you form any kind of complaint about the system.
So yeah, it's true, man. It's so there was the changes were good, I think, for stability of the scene. I think if Blizzard didn't step up like that a couple of years ago, probably the Starcraft scene would look very much different. But if you could, maybe, what do you think would be a good change, except for more tournaments?
Yeah, like what I wanted to say a little bit, like I understand that just cost to making a tournament and everything, but just for a little bit of stability. I mean, I don't know what the word is. I would just like it to be spread into 4, 5, or 6 tournaments, or not 4. But then again, I'm not a tournament organizer, and in general, I refrain from making comments about the systems because I don't really know much about it personally. Like all I know is that in 2016 I got really lucky, and you can't. At some point, you have to be good. Also, like at the end of the day, if you're good enough, you're gonna make it in, and if you're not good enough, then it's gonna be bad for you. You can try to make a system that's more or less fair, even it's really not the right word. So I don't know. Like I feel like it's great that we still have WCS, and Blizzard is indeed putting a lot of money into Starcraft, and I play Starcraft for a living, so yeah, I'm happy about that, and that's really all I can say.
Okay. Looking at the whole setup that you are in, I'm very curious also about the French scene. You mentioned O Gaming earlier, and they had a big announcement a couple of weeks ago. They got a lot of money, at least as far as we can see. But since I'm watching StarCraft, they were always on my radar because they were a lot of times. That's a small thing now, but let me just quickly say that. So sometimes in the beginning, like the ESL streams on Twitch would drop. And then I would always switch over to the French stream because they were always on. They were never dropping. I don't know how they got that right, but they were around since the beginnings. And I mean, it's totally nice to see them doing well. And I think they did a big thing for StarCraft in Europe on their own. On the other hand, there's obviously the language barrier. So French, not everybody speaks French. So at this point in time, as somebody that is from France, that is a player from there, how would you describe the French scene? Is it alive and kicking, or?
Well, I mean, obviously I know quite a bit about gaming on the French scene of streaming on esports in general. So I'm not gonna go too deep into the different streaming house fighting in France for control of esports or whatever. It's just that, like the esports French scene, I feel like always being pretty big, always being a lot of supports. I have a bunch of French fans I don't really know how I got them, but they really like me, so I'm really happy for that. Personally, it means that every month there's underdogs. I don't always win underdogs. In the French scene, for example, it's well known that players like Shadow are my nemesis. People that are not really doing any result in international tournaments, but always kick my butts. Very recently, I've been doing well, but for a while it was very hard for me. But it's more money for the local French player. Right now, obviously, we don't have Lilbo, Marine Lord, or these kind of players anymore in the scene, so it's not as prestigious as it was like a year ago. But this guy was just like very, very passionate. They were here when French players were doing not that much, on their here after done a lot. So yeah, I don't know what I can say really. I guess one of the things that's nice is that since I went to the gaming studio a lot. I know every caster pretty much. I know the CEO and everything like this. So I know that's if one day I'm like, hey, I'm not a pro gamer anymore, but I want to go to Paris and I want to be working for gaming. I would probably most likely get something. And as a caster at gaming, you're not rolling in money. It's a lot for the passion. This guy works a lot of hours casting every day for what would be, not even minimum wage. But they're all very passionate about esports, and I'm really happy to see them getting the money from the investors. That means that they're gonna be able to do more projects, maybe more tournaments. Everybody is always like, hey guys, can we have Iron Squid free? Iron Squid, guys, please. People always complain about this, so maybe you're gonna be able to do it. No, I'm not releasing any inside info, by the way. I have no clue. I just hope every fan that they're gonna do it.
I agree. I love that one. And also on Nation Wars, Nation Wars is just, for me as a fan, exciting. And I hope they can make that happen also. So how do you feel about younger players, new and upcoming players? You mentioned now Shadow, but also do you feel there are some new guys coming around, or even girls, or players in general?
There's DNS, obviously. I've known the guy for quite a long time now, and I've lived with him for almost a year. So yeah, I feel he's pretty, he always had a really good macro, and I feel all you need sometimes is the little click that's gonna make you ahead of the curve for a 2-month period. You win a tournament, and you're really happy. But it's pretty hard to say, if someone is gonna pop up and really win everything. Because the thing is, really often when you see, a new blood is coming up, that guy actually played the game for the past 6 years, and he's just only now managing to get good enough. I feel it's really hard, especially in Europe, to really make it out as a new pro gamer. I'm always a bit, everybody that managed to do it should deserve. Not deserve, but it's always a bit impressive. So yeah. GNS and maybe Denver. Denver is also still playing the game, and it's still a bit too reckless, I guess. But any time of the day can just become suddenly better, and then I'm losing every game.
But I think what you are mentioning now, that you touched on, I think it's something that I also realized when I started to think about who could I ask for interviews, who can I talk to. That I think it's really underappreciated how many hours many of the players put into the game, and to really reach a certain level. I once, when I was still playing Go for SC2, so I was participating, and I was Silver League or something like that. I played against Freydière. He was still active, so it was in the early beginnings. But he kicked my ass so badly, and then I only realized as a player, man, these guys are so much better than me. And to reach that level, I think that should be much more appreciated. So what you also are mentioning now about your own work that you put in. So what I'm hearing is the French scene is good and well. The only issue they have is the language, in the sense of opening it up to other people. So that's always a tricky thing. Obviously, as soon as you are not English, it's difficult to follow anything. The German scene, I'm from Germany, has the same issue, I think. Although obviously the Take TV is doing a good job. So talking a bit about your future plans. So you said you can't look into the future. You don't want to do too much predictions. But talking about the rest of 2017 and then coming year 2018, any specific goals that you have for yourself? So you are going to Montreal.
No, I feel the goal should always be to make it to BlizzCon. Last year, BlizzCon is actually such an incredible tournament that I'm a bit I can still make it in if I win Montreal, but it's gonna be difficult. And I feel it should always be your goal. But I don't know really. Like I'm just gonna think of how to get better and try to do that. Like for example, next year I'm probably gonna go to Korea before the first WCS tournaments because I feel like it's the most important. So you really need to be on point. This is actually what I did this year too, not that I think about it, but I lost really quickly, even though I went in Korea. It was actually even a bit counterproductive because I played Yasuno, which is actually a lot better than people think. But because I played him over and over again on the Korean ladder, this guy had like monster snipe build, like some cruel builds, man. That was just rough. I could have won the game, but yeah, I got sniped, and then I got a bit flustered, and I lost to PtitDrogo. That also, is a lot better than people realize. Like when I lost to him, people made fun of me, and then like when he played versus Nib at the last WCS, it was 2-2, and people were like, "Oh my God, Probe is gonna beat Nib." So that guy has pretty good PvP. So yeah.
Yeah, Probe. We are talking about the Australian, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you look, I mean, not to compare maybe too much, but 2016 was a pretty good year for you, obviously. How do you feel about 2018?
Well, I mean, I'm still gonna be here, and like one of the things too is that in 2016 I had a pretty good year, but for example, I failed big time at WESG, and this year I intend to not do the same. So if I do a decent result at WESG, I might have like a year that's pretty much equal to 2016. So like, I still have time to have a very good year, and if I have a very good year, then I'm gonna go for a third one.
Sounds very good. So thank you very much up until this point. We are nearing the end of our interview, but I was also like to ask you, because you're still quite young, and I'm an old dude, I'm 36. So how does your family support you?
Well, I mean, that's kind of funny. Like at first, at the beginning, when I was like, we were not sure if I was gonna manage to finish the final high school exam, because in France, at the end of the year, you have like a big exam, and if you make it or not is purely based on that. And I wasn't even sure if I was gonna pass it. I passed it, but barely. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to Switzerland to play video game, guys. And I was like, yeah, sure about that. yeah, I'm sure about that. And what was nice is that after the first month, really quickly actually, I qualified for WSS, because back then it was like a big qualifier. Then you would play your challenger match, and I qualified like 1 month after I played. I became better extremely fast. It was like I became good at making Stalker and Sentry pretty much. And I won this is a bunch of Zerg, like this really famous run that's purely Zerg, and I made it in. So I won like 2,000 euro really fast, and we're like, oh, okay, well, sure, you can do this for a while, and if it keeps happening, then we're gonna be very happy. And then eventually, like after I won Leipzig, my mother was like, look at my son, he's a pro gamer, he wins money and he travels the world, guys. She was showing me around to everybody pretty much.
Nice, that's good. So yeah, that's nice to have the support, obviously, of your family. No doubt about it. So, one of the last questions already. How do you feel about Starcraft Remastered? Everybody is so excited now. The couple of weeks now since it's out, and how do you feel about it? Did you try it out already?
Yeah, like it's a fun game. Like the fact that actually I ladder a little bit, but I ladder with the old graphics. Just, I don't know, it triggers my nostalgia buttons quite a lot. Yeah, like it's a fun game. Maybe if one day if for 1 month I stop playing Starcraft 2 for holidays or something, maybe I'm gonna spend a month trying to be good at Broad War. But yeah, like it's a fun game. People that are already good at it are, making very good views and streaming. But I'm not sure if it's gonna go like a lot more outside of that. What could happen though, and some people theorize this, is that if it becomes really big in Korea again, then StarCraft 2 is even less big. And then if there's no StarCraft 2 in Korea, then maybe in Europe it's gonna be bad. But I feel like in Korea right now, if you already switched to Brood War, if you like Brood War more than StarCraft 2, you already switched. It's not really your master's gonna change it. But I don't know. Like I'm really bad at predicting stuff. I'm just a player. I don't pay too much attention to number, etc. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm also very curious. I mean, so if you look at all these things, we talked a lot of Starcraft, and we talked a lot of things that you experienced also the last couple of years since you became a pro gamer. Is there anything that you do outside of Starcraft?
Since recently, and I mean since BlizzCon, I play chess quite a bit.
Okay.
I'm still pretty bad. Recently, I broke 1,000 elo on Blitz games. I'm pretty happy about that because I was stuck at 800 for a while. But this is like Silver League, so for people that don't know, this is like silver, like going from bronze to silver, pretty much. But that was pretty nice. I play with these other, like, Starcraft 2 personalities. And aside of that, I'm pretty good at guitar, even if I don't like actively practice guitar to improve as before. I have like 6-7 years under my belt of like active practice, so yeah, I'm pretty good at that. And I play other games outside of Starcraft 2. I play some RPGs, some Overwatch, some League of Legends from time to time. Like pretty much every time one of my friends wants to play like a multiplayer game, I'm gonna play it pretty much.
Okay.
So right now I'm quite happy with my diversity of hobbies. It used to be a lot worse. That's why I'm saying this. Now it's pretty great.
Worse in the sense of
Well,
too much of it, or
no, worse in the sense of I would play StarCraft, and when I would not play StarCraft, I would just be the most unproductive slime you have ever seen. Just sitting here doing nothing.
But that changed. I mean, that's good. It's funny how things sometimes develop over time. I mean, when I was talking to a nerd show, also he mentioned that he even thinks that it improves sometimes. If you take a short break or if you do something on the side, it can improve your StarCraft also. So.
Yeah, I have a funny story actually about this. Like, I'm gonna pick an old thing so people don't blame me too much. But we used to have like small French LAN, like something that was called PXL, which was a French LAN like that was like 2 hours away from my home. And before going to the PXL, I played World of Warcraft for 2 days straight, just level 1. I never played it before. And I was like, hey, I kind of want to play World of Warcraft, So I leveled up a Paladin from level 1 to 20. It took me 2 days because I was kind of slow. And then I just went to the LAN, won it, and came back. I never touched World of Warcraft again. But still, why are you playing World of Warcraft when never touch it again? And right before the tournament, it makes no sense. And I was just like, I don't know. I just wanted to do it.
Nice. Yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything that you would like to add? Anything that is on your heart that you feel is important?
I don't know really. Like, I'm just a dude playing StarCraft, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. Like personally, like I honestly like. I get minimum 8 compared to most other player, but I usually like sometimes people they're gonna see. I'm really big on sarcasm, but sometimes you're gonna see people that they watch a stream of you or a moment of you where you're like full in sarcasm mode of like you mentioned something else, but since they don't know the context or anything, they feel you're just this massive dick, this massive guy that's so cocky, and they just instantly don't like you. And sometimes it's happened to me. Now, obviously, with the not shaking the hand incident, some people got their information really hard. And so it's the only thing I would say is that a lot of people in the Europe scene are trying really hard, even if it doesn't look like it. And even if you're really not as good as the Korean, like, because a lot of people are just trying hard and really not getting the best results, and it always makes me a bit sad. So be kind to us, guys. The next time we play at a tournament or we play like shit, we might play like shit, but we actually tried. We try to make it better than it is. But this is actually the best we can do.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that honesty also, because for me, and that is very important personally, that we stay positive, and I like you to value you guys also and appreciate what you are delivering. I mean, you are delivering my entertainment, so why should I be a dick about it? And you, yeah, you're just a human being. So
We could go in a big debate like this, but I get your point, eh?
no, no,
I
no.
try to
Yeah.
I try to follow the D9 school of thoughts of always being positive because I'm a bit of a D9 boy. But I'm known to be pretty negative most of the time. It's something I try to fix. Like sometimes I'm just this shining guy always smiling. This one usually lasts for about 1 hour.
So I'm being lucky now.
Yeah, you're being extremely lucky. You're catching me like this is a solar eclipse, so all of my negativity is out the window for this time.
But is it? The thing is, okay. Now I'm curious, man. It's so. What would you discuss about that? What is your point? Where would you be criticizing my point of view?
No, but I mean like, you can always shit talk on everything, and usually I don't feel like people saying we should always be positive and appreciative of everybody. You don't want to force positivity on everybody. But this is what I say. This is a big debate that's kind of outside Starcraft. This is like a problem that I saw a YouTube video about the YouTuber putting like a really positive outlook so they could get sponsorship deals, and some people they don't really feel that positive all the time. Yeah, I'm gonna say this for a third time. This is a whole other debate. So even though we should be positive, etc., etc., if someone wanna say, "Hey, Drogo, you're a bad player on your attack," I'm not gonna cry. Like, oh, no, well, sorry.
No, okay, but that's good. I get your point. Yeah, sure. But for me, it's also not about being smiling all the time and being like happy. It's more a thing of appreciating the other human being. I mean, it's more like for example the handshake thing, or let's say you maybe just having a bad day on stream. That's obviously totally acceptable for me. I think it's more the question of how you deal with it in general. If I mean, afterwards you apologized, and if you had a bad day on the stream, then it's for people following you. No,
but okay. I want to follow up on this because I feel like I used bad example, but there's some instances in StarCraft where I was extremely shocked about public backlash to some games.
Yeah.
And this really made me it's one of my big fear, to be the guy that everybody hates. You open Reddit and you just see that like there's all the posts and it's like FUCKDROGO. Like I read to see that one day, but to explain my points, there's two big examples of I feel like there was way too much hate, and I feel like it kind of really affected negatively the player. One obviously is the Lilbo incident, where some of it was deserved, but back maybe one day I'm gonna make a post about it. But in the background, I feel like Lilbo was a lot more innocent than everybody would put him in, and I saw just like he would not really talk about it much, but I really felt like it talked with him quite a little bit. Or maybe he doesn't care, I'm not in his head. But the other example, which is actually the more relevant one, was when I won against Snoots at BlizzCon. So many people sent messages to Snoot like, "What the fuck, man? You're so stupid," because he had this really famous game too, where he only made League Bane against me. So he was extremely ahead, but eventually managed to lose it. And he got so much hate for that one game, also because of the fact that In Control was like, "Hey, why is he doing this, man?" He was not saying, "Hey, Snoot, you're retarded," but he was kind of saying it like as much as he could on the cast. So it's like, "Man, this is really weird. This is not good." Like, blah, blah, blah. And so he got so much fucking hate for losing that game. And already, obviously he was fucking bummed out about losing this. And all of people, there was people saying like, "Snoot, I was your fan, I love you so much, but you really dropped the ball here. That was really disappointing to see. And I'm not sure if I am fan anymore." Like, fuck you. I was like, fuck. Like, if I was Snoot in that position, I don't know if I could handle it. So in general, we're StarCraft players. Like, if you're not on the big stage, stuff like this is rarely gonna happen. So in that regard, I'm pretty nice. But this is one of the big thing where it's like, this can be very hard. And in general, I would say it's only one of my true fear in StarCraft. Like people, just a bombardment of people giving me shit.
Yeah.
For something. This is why also I didn't take the handshake thing too badly, because this was my fault. Like. I really didn't mind it too much because I fucked up. Like this is why I can joke about it, or I didn't mind it too much. But in general, sometimes it's gonna be very tough, especially because we're foreigners, and I'm gonna come back to the Korean thing again. If you play worse than perfect, sometimes people are gonna remind you that you was a Korean. It's like, yeah, I know. Like obviously for some people that shit talking Koreans, then this is useful. Like for people like nature that are always gonna be like Korean are not so good. I can understand like taking the world back. This is really fun. But for people like a lot of us, we admire Koreans so much, and we more aware than anybody else that we're like not the best. Just getting reminded of it by people in Silver League sometimes is pretty fucking insulting. Like sometimes these guys are just people. They're so bad at the game. You don't even know why they're watching. I'm just ranting right now, so I'm gonna stop it here.
Yeah, but no, yeah. It's still. It's not only ranting. I mean, you are giving us an insight into what goes through your mind also regarding the connection to the community, and that's what that's why I brought the topic also a bit into our conversation, because I feel that this is a point where we as a community can be more sensitive. I mean, obviously, man, if you are a fan, sometimes you feel bad for, like, when I watch people that I'm fan of, or let's say I'm switching into a game, you against a Korean. I would normally support you, and if you lose, I would also feel a bit sad, because I want to see Koreans get some. But I think what you are describing goes deeper, and it's more of people not thinking about the fact that, let's say, Snoot or you or anybody else out there are just like people trying to do their best and trying to play a game that they like and to make a living out of it and all of that. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
No problem.
So, last question for today.
All right, I'm ready.
If you could be a Protoss unit, which unit would you be?
It's a bit different from what's my favorite unit. So I would say, oh man, I'm very bad at this kind of question. Probably a Mothership Core.
And
yeah. Like I'm here. I'm unique. I'm a unique snowflake. I'm useful. Just here. I'm a Mothership Core. I don't know. Sounds pretty neat.
That sounds
pretty alright.
Yeah, thank you so much. Theo, any last shoutouts from your side? We got a bit sidetracked on a good way.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm gonna do useful stuff. Like, thank you to my team, myInsanity, and the sponsor, which I can't remember. And thanks to Gaming, thanks to the great guys, and thanks to the Starcraft community. I just gave you shit 5 minutes ago, but most of the time you're great. Like, it's the selective memory. You forget about the 1,000 good comments and just remember the 2 negative ones. So in general, you guys are pretty great. So not a little better than other communities. So thanks a lot. Can I do it?
Yes.
I can do it. Nice.
Thank you so much. I hope we talk again, maybe when you qualified for BlizzCon. And I wish you all the best for Montreal and for your traveling, your practice, and that everything works out. Thank you for your time and have a lovely evening. Bye, guys.
Yeah, see you too. Bye, guys.